Welcome to Week 5 of Strong Lungs, Strong Life Smoking Cessation Program. Let's compare your smoking cessation journey to building a house. Even if you have never been there, you may have heard stories of others who have built their homes. A few people have a great experience. Everything seems to fall into place. However, for the majority, there are issues and problems facing us each day. The same applies for quitting smoking. Most of us experience hiccups or bumps in the road. People around us try our patience, or we feel defeated when making decisions. But the only thing that matters at the end of the process is that you've done it. You've quit smoking. Let's go back to the analogy of building a house. What is the first thing you do when you build a house? You find a blueprint or plans that you like. If you've been along this journey with us from the first week, you've already done this. You have examined your reasons to quit and have learned what triggers cause you to crave a cigarette. You've already got the first steps completed. The next thing you do is find a builder. In your smoking cessation journey, the builder is you. You are in control of laying the foundation. After the plans have been set, it is time to build that strong foundation. With a foundation, it is one brick at a time. Your journey is similar. Build it one day at a time. For most of us, there will be bumps. Let's face it, lots of bumps along the way. It is not easy to quit smoking, but remember what you have learned so far. Change your routine, find that support system and lean on them when it gets difficult. Change the way you think about smoking, but don't be too hard on yourself. Just remember to stay on that road. Think about your future without cigarettes. It's okay to look ahead, just like when you're building a house, but it takes patience. Houses aren't built in a day, and neither is a smoke-free life. But imagine how wonderful it would be to live a life without cigarettes. It's worth it. When you stop smoking, you will experience cravings. But what happens if you give in to that cigarette? Remember those bumps in the road? This is one of those times where you must stay on the road and avoid a crash. Mistakes happen where you give in to that one cigarette, but don't tell yourself that you might as well give up now. It's all about what you do after you make that mistake that dictates your future. Keep driving ahead. The next few slides, I want to discuss in detail the 5 steps that lead to smoking relapse. They are self-pity, self-deprecation, blaming others, overconfidence, and impatience. After you quit smoking, you may feel like everyone around you is getting to smoke, but you can't anymore. Is this a good thing, though? Maybe everyone around you is admiring you for quitting, and even wishing that they could do the same. Statistics actually show that up to 70% of smokers have a desire to quit, but haven't taken the necessary steps to actually do so. So be proud of yourself, and remember that nicotine withdrawal is only temporary. Smoking cessation is a difficult process, but focus on how great you will feel once you overcome the addiction. Self-deprecation is a bad road to travel down. We are often our own worst critic, but we must maintain a positive attitude and continually tell ourselves that we can do it. When thoughts of self-deprecation come through our minds, we must correct them quickly. This will keep you moving in the right direction. This is also a great time to call on your support system. Blaming others is another step that can lead to a smoking relapse. Is your success dependent on others? You can't rely on others for your own success, and you definitely can't blame others for your smoking habit. Instead, take actions to ensure you succeed in quitting smoking. You might find that taking responsibility for yourself can be quite empowering. Having confidence in yourself to quit smoking is not a bad thing. It is when you become overconfident in yourself that trouble arises. If you are constantly telling yourself that you can have one cigarette and then get back to the cessation program tomorrow because you have a strong will, you will find yourself losing to the addiction again. You will always be susceptible to dependence if you introduce nicotine back into your system. Remember, there is no such thing as just one cigarette. Quitting smoking is difficult and it takes time. Don't be discouraged because you are a month out and still craving cigarettes. It is another bump in the road you will face, but it will get easier with time. Everybody's body adjusts differently to smoking cessation. It may take you a little longer to quit than you had anticipated. Your friend may tell you she has never craved a cigarette again after only 2 weeks of quitting. Don't gauge your success on how others have done, and don't get discouraged because your body takes longer to adjust. Relapses happen. Sometimes you give in to a craving you are facing. The important thing is to get back on track quickly before the habit takes over. Go back to your foundation and remember the reasons for putting the cigarettes down in the first place. Call your support system and ask for help. If you do relapse, use the slip-up to grow. Ask yourself, what was your trigger? Was it something you had already recognized as a trigger or something new? It is a learning opportunity that can help you avoid making the same mistakes in the future. So you have a support system. That's wonderful. Now use them. If it is a counselor or a friend, call them. If it is a support group, go to the meetings. You can say you have a great support system, but you have to be willing to lean on them when times get tough. If you are involved in a smoking cessation program, stay with it. Research has shown that only about 4 to 7% of people are able to quit smoking on any given attempt without medicines or other help. Studies in medical journals have reported that about 25% of smokers who use medicines can stay smoke-free for over 6 months. Counseling and other types of emotional support can boost success rates higher than medicines alone. The bottom line is, find your support system and use it. For you to be completely quit smoking, you have to change your way of thinking. Don't think of it as giving something up. Instead, think about what all you have gained by going smoke-free. Think of the positives of throwing the cigarettes away, such as being able to exercise without getting winded, or how much money you will be saving when you aren't buying cigarettes. The benefits will always outweigh the cigarettes that you are giving up. Now let's review. We first discussed confidence statements last week. Remember, they are positive, true statements that you can repeat to yourself daily to keep yourself focused, motivated, and in control. To do this exercise, take out a piece of paper and list out at least 20 positive, true statements concerning how and why you will stop smoking. After making your list, it can be helpful to post your list somewhere convenient where you can read it once a day to stay focused. Now let's do a few. Here are some reminders of confidence statements that we discussed last week. Use as many of these as you need throughout your journey, or add some that you came up with on your own. So how do we own our quit? It is only when the change we're after is solidly rooted in our own inner desire that we are in a position to succeed for the long term. Quit smoking for yourself only, and the rest will fall into place. Don't let anyone shake your confidence as you move through the recovery process. You are on the right path. Make no mistake. Be honest with yourself. If you relapse, look and understand what was going on mentally and environmentally at the time and learn from it. Dwelling will only continue to add negative thoughts. What about your smoking buddy? Is it your spouse, your neighbor, or your friend at work? Won't they cause you to crave cigarettes again? The great majority of people who smoke desperately want to quit. They hate the enslavement that comes with nicotine addiction, and whether voiced or not, they worry about the diseases associated with tobacco use. Most active smokers won't admit this. They'll tell you, and themselves, they enjoy smoking, but the reality is they feel powerless to kick tobacco to the curb. When you quit smoking, your smoking buddies are forced to look head-on at the fear and worry about smoking that they keep under wraps most of the time. And while they may be genuinely happy for us, they might also be grappling with an unspoken level of jealousy, that we are doing something deep down they want to do too. Use this time to be an encouragement to them as well. Let's briefly review from week 1 the many benefits your body will experience with smoking cessation. 20 minutes after you quit smoking, the temperature of your hands and feet increases to normal. Your blood pressure decreases to normal levels. Just 8 hours after quitting smoking, the carbon monoxide level in your blood drops to normal. Within the first 24 hours, your risk of having a heart attack decreases. 2 weeks to 3 months after quitting smoking, your circulation improves and your lung function increases up to 30%. Lung function refers to how well your lungs are working. 1 to 9 months after quitting smoking, coughing, sinus congestion, fatigue, and shortness of breath decrease. The cilia, or tiny hairs in your lungs, regain normal function and increase their ability to clean the lungs and reduce infections. 1 year after quitting smoking, the risk of coronary heart disease is 1/2 that of a smoker's. 5 years after quitting, stroke risk is reduced to that of a non-smoker's. And 10 years after quitting, the death rate from lung cancer is 50% lower than a smoker's. Thank you for participating in Week 5 of Strong Lungs, Strong Life Smoking Cessation Program. Today we discussed building the foundation of your personalized smoking cessation program. You must remember that you will face bumps in the road, but look to the future and remind yourself constantly of the benefits you will reap once you have quit smoking for good. Thank you, and I hope to see you for Week 6.